I love her. Andrea Liebross. I hope I'm saying your last name right. Is it
You
Liebross?
are. Yes,
Okay.
you are correct.
And she's
You
the
got it.
author of She Thinks Big. This book, Andrea, this book, I'm telling you, this is my book. This is the book of I mean, this is gonna be our feature for it was our feature for Women's History Month, and it's gonna be our feature for Mother's Day too, because I think women can just,
There we go. We can just
you
keep it
know,
going.
just keep it going. It's our spring feature.
Yeah.
But this is a great book. So everyone, we're going to be discussing this book right now. I would want us to check our channels and share. So I'm going to go check my channels, make sure everything is working, and I want you all to do the same. Please check your channels, and please share this because we're going to have a great conversation, and we don't want anyone to miss this conversation. So let me make sure our Facebook is live. And I do this because I have done a whole live and I had no value. So now I take a minute out and I make sure I can
Well,
that
it is
I'm
live
working.
on my LinkedIn. I'll tell you that. It's live on my LinkedIn. And
Okay. We're live on our Facebook. Let me make sure I check our YouTube channel. Make sure it's live out there. I just want to
and
make sure.
let's see.
Okay, great.
And it's live
All
on YouTube
channels
for
are
me too.
working.
We're
That's
good.
great. We're good. We're good to go. Okay. Well, again, thank you so much, Andrea, for taking time to join us on this wonderful. Well, you're in California, right? Where are you?
I didn't know. I'm actually in Indiana.
Oh,
So
you
we are
Midwest.
Eastern time.
Eastern.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm in
Yes.
Texas, as you know, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful day here. What's the weather there? I mean, how's it going? Is it
Well, it's
snow or?
dark now because we're Eastern time, but it was cold today. It was in the 40s, but it
Oh.
was 80 on Friday. So I don't know.
Okay,
It's
y'all kind of
spring.
up
It's
and down, up
spring.
and down. Okay, well
Yes.
today was a beautiful day, and I'm just been reading and just studying this book to be prepared to have a conversation with Andrea. And so, Andrea, just real quickly, tell us about yourself. Just kind of introduce us
Sure.
to all that you do, because you have a huge
Yes.
bio. And I don't want
Yes.
to read your bio. I would rather that you share your bio with us.
Okay. Okay. So I will start in honor of Women's History Month that I am a mom of two kids. I've got they're two adult children, or seemingly almost adult, 23 and 21.
Mhm.
Um, I also have I call it one husband, two kids, and two dogs. And I live right now, we live outside of Indianapolis, and I have lived here for the past 25 years. However, I was born and raised, grew up outside of Boston and Massachusetts, and made my way to the Midwest in 2000, and we have been here ever since.
Okay.
But my world is pretty global because what I do, I talk to women who live all over the world on a daily basis via Zoom. And these women that I work with, they all own businesses. So they are entrepreneurs, they are small business owners.
Kind of
Some
like
of them are,
myself, huh?
yeah, kind of like you. Yep.
Okay.
Some of them are solopreneurs, and some of them have a team of up to 100 people. So kind of runs the gamut. And my job is really to help them figure out how to grow their businesses and themselves. I always say you can only grow your business as fast as you grow yourself and your own personal development and thinking,
Mm,
but help them to
that's good.
grow those two areas so that they really can create some of the freedoms that they want. Probably the reason a lot of them got into what they're doing in the first place, because they wanted more freedom in terms of time or money or energy, wanted to spend their energy on what they wanted to spend it on, or people. They wanted to only have the people in their lives that they wanted to have in their lives. So making that all happen though is hard work. It's not
Mm.
as easy as it looks. So I coach them. I am a business coach. I also say I'm a life coach because life if definitely intermingles with business when you are a small business owner.
Yeah.
Um, and I help them kind of navigate all of that and create some strategy create strategy and then implement it so that they can really get what they want. Sometimes I like to say, I help you make decisions to help you get what you want all the time. So
Mm, awesome.
that's it in a nutshell. I mean, I could go on and on, but that's it in a nutshell.
That is awesome. Okay, so you don't really work. You just live. I mean, that's a wonderful job. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
yeah, I mean, I really love what I do. I love what I do. It is, it is work. This is 100% full-time business. I also have a podcast that I record weekly. I wrote this book. I do speaking engagements. So what I'm doing is like sometimes I think also, I mean, we can kind of get into this, and I mentioned this in the book. I think sometimes when women own businesses,
Mm-hmm.
they sometimes people can come up to you and say, "So how's it going?" I'm sure you've had this happen to you. How's it going? How's the bookstore? And like, no, we're doing this for reals. This isn't just a hobby here. This is a real thing. So, what I'm doing is it's a real thing. It's out there. But I get to meet women all over the world, which is really kind of fun. But the struggles are universal. The
Oh,
struggles are universal.
okay. Well,
Yes.
you know what? I just want to give a shout out to Jan Ubel, who kind of connected us. I really appreciate that. She's with Bedside Stories, and she kind of linked us up. And I think she just said, you know what? I think she seriously. I think this is divine. I think I'm supposed to be. You're supposed to be working with me. You know what I'm saying? I
Maybe
need to add
here we go.
to your
Do you
group.
need some coaching? Do you need
I
some
need some
coaching?
coaching.
Okay.
I
Well,
need
this
some
is
coaching.
perfect then. Perfect.
But really though, this book is really inspiring. So let's just kind of get into the book.
Sure.
Um, and I'm just gonna go through it, and you just
Sure.
kind of just throw out whatever comes to your mind, as you just think about it. Because right now, I guess your first thought is big mindset.
Yeah. So I divided this book into three sections.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got big mindset, we've got
Big
big
plans
plan, and
and
then we
big
have big
results.
results. Yes. So, first thing here is to really think about, I like to say success has two ingredients: mindset and systems. And systems are probably only about 20%. The real crux of the recipe, or the vast majority of the recipe, the most popular slash needed ingredient, is mindset. And I think sometimes we think that if we gather enough resources, okay, which could be time, money, or people, okay, that we're going to be able to figure things out. And yes, you need resources, you need tools, but
Mm-hmm.
really what you need more is thinking. So before we went live on the air, you were talking about your bookstore, and you were telling me, okay, I've got these two people working for me, and you're doing multiple things too, and maybe I just need to get that set and straight, right? So that's kind of our mind playing a little bit of a trick on us, thinking that, we need to wait till it's the right time,
Right.
or when I have everything organized, when I learn more. That's another thing that comes up. Okay. But I kind of like to say, yes, you need all those things, but really what you need to instill is big thinking. And I kind of created an acronym around this big thinking, because I think that all big thinkers really do five things really well. Do you want to know what they are?
Yes, please. We can't wait. What are they?
Okay. Okay. So first up, I use the word trust as an acronym. So TRUST.
I need a
T,
notebook, but I'm gonna go
you need a
back to this.
notebook.
Go
Well, you can,
ahead.
sometimes people take notes in the back of the book. You can do that.
Oh,
That's what they do. I mean, I've done this before, so I know. I
no,
know.
no. I'm gonna
Right.
come back. Trust and believe. But yes,
Okay.
you know,
Okay. So
if you,
trust. So the T in trust stands for, the first T stands for thought options. Okay.
Mhm.
So what do I mean by that? I mean that you have options of how you want to think about anything. Right. So an easy example is, you asked me what's the weather like here in Indianapolis. So today it was 40 and kind of cloudy, and it rained a little. And I could think, okay, well, it's March 31st. I mean, what's this? March is in like a lion, out like a lamb. It didn't feel very lamby today. Okay, so what's up with that? I could be very feel like this isn't fair. By now, we should be in spring. Okay, that's a
Right.
thought. That's an option. That's a thought. I have that option. Or I could think, hey, tomorrow it is April 1st, April Fool's Day, April 1st, and who knows what's around the corner. I mean, it's going to soon it'll be 60 every day, and that's great. All right. So you've got options of your business. You
Right.
could think of it as I mentioned to you before we went live, you could think of it as a jobby, right? So it's like a job and a hobby together. It's something that you're really passionate about and that you love. Okay. However, it is something that requires attention and effort and
A
money and
lot of
time
work.
and energy, a lot of work, right? So it's somewhat of a job. So you could think about it as a jobby. Okay. That's a thought. Or you could think about it as a business that you're ready to sink your teeth in even deeper.
I like that.
Okay. All right. So one's not right and one's not wrong. This isn't about judging. This is just about options. Okay.
And
So that
thinking.
all
Right.
right. And I think all big thinkers out there, realize that they have options. So
Mm.
sometimes I like to say, okay, whoever's listening to us, think about someone that you know that you would consider a big thinker. I mean,
Okay.
conjure up someone. Okay. And I'm going to guess whoever you're thinking about, you can think about them as someone who's pretty opportunistic, who's like, we could do that. We could do that. Let's try it. Let's give it a whirl.
When you
Okay.
said that, my sister came to my mind, my business partner. She is
Okay.
definitely a thinker.
What's her name?
And
What's her name?
her name is Danya, and she jumps on all opportunities. I
Okay.
mean, so yeah. When you
All
said
right.
that, I thought of her. Mhm.
All right. So see, Danya's like, well, let's try it. Let's give it a whirl. Let's have this Andrea person on, right? To talk live. Who knows? Okay. So you've got to really get good at, I say, sourcing thought options. And a
Mm.
lot of what my job is that I help people think about these options. And sometimes I'll say, hey, I'm just going to put it out there. You can grab it if you want. But
Mhm.
I don't know. Here's a thought. If you dug your teeth deeper into whatever business you're in now or whatever you're doing now, you probably would gain from that in some way. Just an option, right? So thought options, which kind of then leads me to the R in trust. So remember, we got this acronym trust that's all about what big thinkers do and the five keys to big thinking. So the R in trust stands for real problem. Okay. Now, there's so many things that can get in our way of what I call big thinking. Okay. There's so
Mm.
many roadblocks. There's so many
And distractions.
distractions like shiny objects, squirrels, right? Okay.
Yes.
But really, when it comes down to it, they're not problems because we can get around them. The only problem is a negative feeling. Okay.
Okay.
Everything is really just coming down to a negative feeling. You don't want to feel like you missed out on something like an opportunity. Okay. You don't want to
Mm.
sink your teeth deeper into this business because what if it doesn't pan out? Okay. So now we've got fear getting in the way. All right.
Mhm.
Sometimes, well, if I put more energy into this, I have to take energy away from that. And then we have guilt. Okay. So there really isn't a problem per se. It's really just that we don't want to experience some of these negative feelings that might come along with putting our big thinking into action.
Right. Right.
I
Okay.
don't know. Have you ever experienced that?
Yes. And I'm experiencing that now, actually.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
if you think about it, like, why aren't we just going after it? Right? Why aren't we going after it?
to
It's
just
because,
do it. I don't know why we just don't do
well,
it.
why do you think? Like, why not? Why do you think we just don't do it?
Well,
Why don't we
actually,
do what
like you
Nike told us to do?
Yeah, I think like you said, I mean, you just don't know what to expect really, and you don't,
Yeah.
and just the unknown, and not to be negative, I think it's more of the unknown.
It's fear of the unknown. It's fear of the unknown, right? And
Right,
so,
right.
okay. So that brings us, guess what? I don't know, you didn't even know what I was going to say, but the U in trust. So T was thought options, R is real problem. U, what do you think that stands for? Unknown.
Unknown. Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So big thinkers really start to embrace the unknown, or they become comfortable, if that's possible, with uncertainty. Because you and I don't really even know what's going to happen tomorrow. We really
Okay.
don't. I mean, we can look on our calendars and see what we got there, but really, we don't exactly know what's going to happen
Yeah,
tomorrow.
you're right.
Okay. So,
There's a lot of things we don't have control of. So you're right.
right, right.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I like to say, okay, let's look, let's kind of go out 3 years from now. Let's go to March 31st of 2028. Okay.
Ooh,
I
okay.
want you to go start to have a conversation with this person of March 31st, 2028. What do you think she's doing right now? What do you
You
think?
know, I love that. I got to think about that one, but I love that
What do you
point
think?
out.
What do you think?
Um,
What's like one thing she might be doing?
hopefully, um, we may have another store somewhere.
Oh, look at that.
I
Okay.
mean, that has come up, and
Okay.
we've been offered some different opportunities. So we may have another location. You know,
Okay.
just never know. Um,
Right.
but with that, some other changes may need to happen as well. So,
Right. Right.
right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to picture her owning having the second location. Okay. 3 years from now, or another store. Is it the same? Is it the Doc Bookshop number two, or do you think it's something totally different?
It's going to be the Dot Bookshop number 2. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So is this future you? Is she smiling? What do you
Oh
think?
yeah,
Okay. So she's having fun.
she's having fun,
She's
enjoying. Yes.
right. She's
Mm-hmm.
figuring it out.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to go ask her, the woman of 2028. I want you to ask her, what would she tell you to do today? What do you think? What decisions would she guide you through today?
Mm, that's a good one. I have to think on that one. I
Right?
love
I
that.
mean, if we were to open a second location and it would be up and running and thriving 3 years from now, we'd probably have to start to take a couple actions now to make that happen, right?
That's true.
So, okay, so let me ask you another question.
Some really big steps. You're right.
Some really big steps. So, do you have a to-do list? I'm
Do I have
guessing you
what?
have a to-do list. You know, people
Oh,
have to-do lists.
yeah. My to do list
Okay.
is off. Yeah, it's ridiculous though. It's
How
the
many
to
things do you
dos on
think are
my
on
list.
that to-do list? What do you
Huh?
think? How many things are on that list?
Oh, I believe it or not, I have at least 30 items on my to do list. Now, do
I'm
I get
sure
them
you do.
all done? Do I get them
No.
all done in a day? Of course not. But
Okay, but
they're
there's
on my
30
list.
things hanging out there, right?
30 things. Yes.
Okay. Now, if if I said to you, all right, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to throw away that to-do list, you'd freak out. You'd be like, oh my gosh, that's how I keep organized. Like, what are you talking about? 30 throwing away. But if we believed that the second location would be up and running and thriving in 3 years, what if we took that belief and changed that belief? I call it the to believe list turns into our new to do list. Okay. Because if we really believed that, we would probably be doing a few things differently right now. And if you look at
Mm.
your 30 item to do list that you actually do have, how many of those things on the to do list of today really align with where you want to be in 3 years?
Yeah.
Not many.
Not many. Yeah.
If you're like most people, okay, which you probably are, right? Not many.
Not
So
many.
it's so interesting how our brains want to become consumed with all of these things that are right in front of us. But really, what's right in front of us isn't necessarily fueling where we want to go or
Yeah.
isn't aligned with like our future you who is
Yeah.
thinking bigger, right? Who is
That's often the
okay,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's often the
Right?
case. Right.
Yeah. So that future you is okay with not necessarily knowing how we're going to get from point A to point B, but that she believes that it can actually happen. So
Mm.
sometimes I say the to believe list is the new to-do list.
I like that. Write that down, someone, okay? That's a good one.
Get out your pen. Get out your pen.
In
Write it
fact, I
down
might
or
put that
type
on a
it in your
t-shirt.
notes.
To believe is to do. Okay. That's a good
Yeah,
t-shirt too. Yeah.
it's a good one. It's a good one. So if you think about it, like what gets in our way of that actually being a reality of the to believe list to become the new to do list? I
Mm.
mean, what do you think? Like what gets in your way? Like what's preventing us? What's preventing women from making those things happen? What do you think?
Honestly, it's everyday life. I mean, it's a lot going
Yes.
on. It's just a lot that we're doing. So,
Yes.
The messy middle. The
The
messy.
messy middle. I heard a voice over there.
I have an in studio audience here. Yes, and they got the book in their hand, so yeah, they know about the messy middle.
Yes, the messy middle, everyday life is getting in the way. That's exactly what's
Yeah.
going on. It's exactly what's going on. Okay. So that brings me then to the S in trust. So the fourth thing. Okay.
So,
So we
so
got,
the key for those who are just now joining us, I'm just let me reset it for just a
yep,
minute because this is
reset the,
really good.
yes.
Yeah. So for those who are just now joining us, I see some people chiming in, and we are in conversation with Andrea Liebross. She is the author of She Thinks Big. I'm gonna put it on this camera. I got two cameras I'm working with, and she is a must. This book is a must read. And to be honest, you know, I think men can benefit from this too. Okay, this is just good stuff. Okay, good
It's
stuff for
good
everybody.
stuff. It's
Yes.
great stuff.
So, and that's a
Yes.
wonderful gift, men. Okay, for the ladies in your life, stop by the Doc Bookshop, get her this book. She will love you forever. Okay, this is a great read, and so we're going through actually just on the first part of it.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, we
we're
got
just on the
tons.
first part of it, and that's is the big thinking. Is that the first one? Big thinking,
Big mindset. Big
big
mindset.
mindset, big mindset.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Andrew is breaking down some steps for this big mindset. And T, she's doing the trust, the
Yes.
acronym, and the
I'm
T is
giving you the
for
cliff notes of the big mindset, which I use trust here to
yeah,
help us get through.
right.
Yes.
And T is for thought options. Many of us
Yep.
don't realize we have options because we're just on the grind. But if we
Mm-hmm.
kind of sit and think, we can see our options. So that's a good one. And then R is real problems, and we all have them. Lord
Mm-hmm.
knows I know about that, right?
Yep. Yep.
And the U is the unknown, and I have a great fear of the unknown. I don't know if this is my sign. I'm a Virgo. I like to know what's going on, so it might be.
No, you're human. That's a human thing. There's a whole section in the book about fear. So you're normal.
Okay. Yes. Okay. And so hopefully I caught you up if you're just now tuning in. And now I can't wait to hear what the S is.
Okay. So S is stands for secure support. Okay.
Your
So
support.
we get in our own way of making some of this big thinking a reality. We get in our own way of listening to future you as our guide, right? We get in
Mm.
our own way. The messy middle gets in our way. So I always say, who is on your personal board of directors? Who is
Oh,
supporting
I
you?
like that. A personal board of directors.
Yes. Yes. Yep. So I think we've got some people listening, like Felicia. I can see you, Catherine. Who's on your personal board of directors? I would love to know. Okay. Now,
Okay.
most people will tell me that there's a family member, one or two or three, on their personal board of directors. Okay. And good. Yay. I am glad they are there. But here is the thing that I want to remind you.
Mm-hmm.
Those family members, their job ultimately is to love you. If they had a job and they're part of your family, okay,
Mm-hmm.
their job is to love you. They don't want to see you really struggling or working through your fears. They want to just see you smiling, right? They want to see you happy. They want to see you loving every minute of life. Okay. So they should not be the only members on this personal board of directors. Okay. We need people on there that are going to help you see sometimes what you can't see and
Your
tell you
thought.
the truth,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like give it to you, like kind of keep you in line in a sense, right? So sometimes I say we're stuck in our own little peanut butter jar.
Mm.
Okay. And with that peanut butter is so sticky that we can't even like get out to the top of the peanut butter jar and look over the lid and see what's going on out there. So you're stuck in your own peanut butter jar. You need someone to help you read the label. Okay. You need someone to help you see what's really going on. So, I mean, in the first 4 minutes of our conversation with where we went live, before we went live, right? You told me kind of what's a teeny bit of the background of you and your bookstore.
Right.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And in those 4 minutes, I said to you, why are you doing that? Or what about this? Right. So that's like, I'm just, you and I have never had a conversation before, but I kind of was able to come in super quick and say, are you sure you want to do that? Is that really you loving that? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
you have to be really you have to be selective in creating this personal board of directors. So a lot of times I'll say what my job is when I'm coaching the women I work with is I am holding a seat at their board on their board of directors. I get a seat at the table. Okay.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah. So sometimes you can rely on so Felicia wrote I rely on my job, your job environment, which I think is super helpful. However, sometimes I think you need someone outside your job to help you see what you might not be seeing. Because all those people in your job, they potentially could be in the peanut butter jar with you. Okay. All the people that you're living with in your home, even your cat and your dog, okay, they're in the peanut butter jar with you. Okay. So it's helpful to have this some outside perspective. So the S in trust stands for secure support. Okay. So in this big mindset type of chapter or section of my book, I mean, I talk about big problems, courage, commitment, beliefs. And those are really all hard things to stay in, right? Without letting that messy middle kind of get mixed up in there. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So what are you thinking as I'm saying all this?
I'm just taking it all in.
You're taking it all in.
I'm taking it all in. And, we got some comments over here. Someone need to order the book. Yes, you do need to order this book. Yes.
Yes.
And actually need to order several because it should be gifts for every woman should have this book. Okay.
Read. They need a group read.
Especially, group read would be great. Yeah. Especially if she's business minded. Gotta have this book. So,
yes. Yeah. There's a workbook that goes with it too. Did you know that? There's a workbook.
No, I didn't know.
Yep. Okay, you can order the workbook too. Okay. You can get that too. It's an audiobook, hardcover, paperback, workbook. And then I do have a complimentary, I call it like an audio coach companion. So you can download, if you're someone that likes to listen to things, you can download my voice walking you through chapter by chapter. So,
oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Yes, yes, and you can get that. It's complimentary. You can head over to my website. I'll kind of put that in the chat while we're here, and find that link, or someone can put it in there if you want to put it in there.
There's a toolkit
Where
at
is
the
it?
beginning of the book.
There's a toolkit. Yep. And then there's the audio coach companion, and I'll just put the direct link to that audio coach companion here while we're talking. Because guess what? These things that I'm talking about actually kind of align with this last T in trust.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the last T in trust stands for take action.
Oh,
Take
Lord, yeah.
massive action.
Take charge.
Yes. Okay. So here's the thing. Okay. I know because I like books, and everybody that's listening here likes books. I know that we all can read tons of books. We can listen to millions of podcasts. We can consume, I'll call it, content. Right? We're really good at that now in 2025, living in the world we live in, right? We can consume content. But consuming content is while valuable, is passive action. Okay. It's not necessarily what I consider massive action. Okay. Massive action is you actually making a decision and doing something, and usually doing something different than you're doing right now, or different than you did today, or something that's out of the norm or going to move the needle forward a little. It's taking massive action is a key component to thinking big. Okay, so there's passive action, and then there's massive action.
Okay.
You want to take massive action, which means like doing things, doing it. You're doing it, right? You're not just talking about it, you're doing it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Got it? Okay.
Got it.
So trust, take thought options is T. R is real problem. And the good news about the real problem is really it's just probably a negative feeling. U stands for embracing uncertainty or the unknown. S stands for securing support or getting your personal board of directors. And T stands for taking massive action. That really is all mindset piece of it. The massive action, the last one, the taking massive action kind of segues into big plans, I will call it, because then you're actually doing something.
Right.
Which is part 2 of the book.
Big plans.
So, yeah. You with me still?
Well,
does anyone have any questions? If anyone has any questions, they can put them in the chat box, and I'm happy to talk about them.
Now, in big plans, you talk about the big picture, the big decisions, the big vision, the big actions, and just, I guess you could just kind of sum that up for us as well. With the big plans.
Yes. So big plans. So I like to do something called a vision into action exercise, or I call it a vision into action intensive that I do with my clients. So what I do, and this is hard for some women. This is really hard for some women. And other women find it very easy. Part 1 of this process is really getting your vision down on paper. So sometimes people say, I'm just trying to get through the day. You're asking me where I want to be in 3 years, Andrea? That's crazy. And I might say, well, what about 10 years? That's like, what are you talking about? I can't go to that 10 years. Other people find it really easy to do this. It's so interesting. It's like one extreme or the other. I should do a little science project on this, because other people say, I have no problem. Your sister kind of sounds like this. She might be her. I have no problem creating a vision. That's not a big deal.
Now, let me just say, my sister, she got all types of visions, but putting it on paper,
yeah,
she probably need to work on that a little bit more, okay? Because I'm really writing down everything she's saying, because she don't do the paper part too well, but she can speak her vision. You know?
Okay. So she can speak her vision. Now, why I think it's really important to actually write it down is because then you have to kind of check in with yourself when you start to take actions. Are the actions you're taking aligning with your vision? Are they going to get you where you want to go? Or like you were
Mhm.
talking about, distractions. Are you getting distracted with all these little things, right? Super easy
Right.
to become distracted. So although this is sometimes, I will admit, painful, a little bit painful to people, okay, that they, getting this all down on paper is torturous. They thanked me in the end. They thanked me in the end because
And they do
now,
thank me because I write down everything.
see,
I'm
and then I
that
bet,
person who writes it down. I have to, because it makes sense. It just makes sense to me on paper. I have to be able to see it.
yes. And then
Yes.
also you can be like, hey, last time we talked about this, where
Right.
are we with that? Like,
Mhm.
have we gotten anywhere? Like, what's going on? Right?
Right. Mhm.
So, okay. So get that vision down on paper. Then part 2 here is turn it into the actions, right? But
Mhm.
what I mean by that is, what do you want to accomplish this year, this quarter, this month, this week? And I'm a big believer in knowing what I call it your big 3. So what are your big 3 things that you want to happen this week? What are your big 3 things that you want to happen today? And they have to be things that you have a little bit of resistance to.
Oh,
Okay?
that's good. Right.
Right. So it's not brush your teeth, hopefully.
And that's good because I'm a procrastinator as well. So I think when you break it down like that with the 3 big things,
Yes,
because because I got a list of 30. So of
you
that
do.
30,
Yeah.
right?
What are the 3 most important things that are going to move the needle, that are going to help you move forward?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. So a lot of times people they'll choose like the 3 easy things because everybody likes checking stuff off, a little dopamine hit, right? So no, I don't want the things that you're going to just check off. I want the things that are actually getting you somewhere.
Right.
Okay.
This is
So
good.
if you scanned that list of your 30 things, I'm going to guess there's not 100 things. They're not all aligned with your bigger vision, right? They're
No,
not all
they're
part of
everyday
your to
issues.
believe,
Yeah.
right? They're everyday stuff. Go to Target, fill
Right.
out the form, make the appointment,
Yeah.
send the email, right? All that kind of stuff, which I'm not saying isn't like going to happen. Of course, we have to do all that stuff. Like
Right.
that's not going away. But you have to kind of check in with yourself and say, does this to-do list really align with my to believe list or my vision for where I want to go?
Right.
Okay. And this is
At
hard.
least do one thing that's going to lead towards the big vision. I agree.
Yes. Like this is hard stuff. This is why, like, go back to that secure support thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or check in with, do you have the freedom of time and money and energy to do these things? Or do you feel like you're, trapped or stuck in a certain spot?
Right.
So if you're someone that's like, I never get all those things done on my list, and they're all kind of little things that really aren't very exciting, we need to revisit that, because it's probably not fulfilling you in the way that other things might. Okay.
Right.
So that's really all part of the plan.
Right.
That's the plan section.
Okay.
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 Wonderful.
Yeah. So then this last section of the book, part 3, is about big results. So if anyone hasn't gone on and ordered this book yet, you totally need to do that, because this is the most exciting part, I think. Really, no one wants to, or let me phrase it everybody wants to be in control of their own time. Everybody wants to be in control of their own energy. Like, they don't want to be spending energy on things they don't want to, right? Everybody wants to be in control of money. Okay. And as women too, we have a really hard time talking about money. We could do another whole session on that, right? Do a whole session on that. Okay. You want to be either earning the amount of money that you want to be earning, or you want to be profitable, however we want to phrase that. But there's a whole money mindset in that realm as well. So big results really align with creating these freedoms of time, money, people, and energy. And if you do think big, those things happen. They happen. They come alive, and you're not feeling so trapped.
Overwhelmed and yes.
Yes. Yes. Now, is there stress in life? Of course. Okay. But if you're experiencing this freedom, your stress isn't necessarily what I call stuck stress. It's progress stress. Okay. So stuck stress feels heavy. Okay. When you're in stuck stress, you can't really access your genius brain. You
Right.
feel confused. You feel overwhelmed. You
You're
feel like
frustrated.
frustrated. Exactly. Okay. But when you're in progress stress, okay, as you start to take actions, things start to become lighter and easier, and you get some momentum. And although you may not have see like a clear road ahead, you're just willing to take those steps. You're energized by it. You can access your genius brain. You can make some great decisions. So life is stressful. Like there is anxiety in all places in life, but stuck stress, you get to kind of a place of diminishing returns. But when you're in progress stress, you're actually moving forward. You're getting through the messy middle. Okay. Now let's talk about the messy middle for just a brief sec. If you think about life, okay, we all go in cycles, kind of. Like I call them loop-de-loops. Okay. So I will use my kids as an example. All right. So I have a 23-year-old. He graduated from college. He's out there in the real world, making money, living on his own. He's almost off my payroll. Okay. And, when he was looking for this first of all, was getting into university and college. Okay. There's a loop there. He had to believe he was going to get in. He had to start to make some decisions, put things into action. There was totally a messy middle there while he was just waiting and not sure what was going to happen. Then he's in. Okay. We finished one loop. Now he's at college. He's in. Okay. Wow. This is amazing. I'm going to, have the best 4 years of my life. Okay. That's his belief. Well, then guess what happens? Things happen. Like it doesn't always rainbows and daisies there every day. Right. So he kind of gets into that messy middle. Okay. But then he gets through and he graduates. There's the next loop. Okay. Now he's like, okay, I have my degree. I need a job. What's happening? We start a third loop. Okay. Someone's going to hire me. He has a belief. He makes some decisions. Where is he going to apply? He sits and waits in the messy middle. Okay. Then he gets the job. Boop. Now that loop's over. Okay. So our life is just like really, it's like cyclical loops, and they all have stuck stress in them. They all have a messy middle. They all have a part of what is about beliefs. They all have a part that's about decisions, but we get through it. We have to use progress stress to push us through.
Right.
So if you're listening to all this as we're talking here and you're like, yes, but I'm having a really hard time getting through these loops, or I want the loops to go faster, right? That's kind of a sign that you need to start infusing some bigger thinking. You need to start having some thought options or choosing different thought options. You need to really start to identify that the fear or negative feelings are keeping you back. You've got to question who's on your board of directors. And am I just taking passive actions, or am I taking massive actions? Right? So if you're in that stuck stress, you got to move through it and figure out how to get to progress stress.
Yeah.
So that you can experience all of these freedoms.
I've been taking all this in, and I'm telling you that personal board of directors just somehow stand out to me.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. You think about it in business, but in your personal, you just don't think of it like that. So that really stuck out for me, that personal board of directors.
Excellent.
Oh, wait a minute.
Excellent. Does anyone else that's listening, what's your biggest takeaway? What are you thinking about here? I would love to know. I would love to know.
Well,
what about our live audience member?
Felicia said, well, Why
I
is my
want to jump on
computer-
stage real quick because
You on stage?
I'm on stage.
Hi, live
Now we
audience.
can start. Now we're going to start the fun part of dealing with test cases, right? Right,
you-
right. I am Danya, the one she was
Hi,
talking
Danya.
about. Yeah, taking my notes because she said she felt that I should be listening today because I am this person
Okay.
that's always, like you said, I'm thinking big. I'm just thinking big already about the book and the vision of the book and having a conversation about the book and teaching from the book and just sharing from the book, this vision thing. And then, Andrea, the big three. I know you was talking about, I think you brought up Target. She's thinking Target or something like that. But I'm sitting up there thinking, like, I have a whole freaking festival that I am ready to do. I said, this week, I'm going to make sure Run to Read is ready to go. That's a part of my festival. So I'm like, that's my big thing. So I'm like, Danya, can you get it done this week? Because I have this vision that this is like what our 4th year for the Trinity River Book Festival.
Mhm.
And so like I'm sitting up there thinking big, just all the possibilities. But like she said, I haven't written nothing down. It's all in my head and it's all really executed right now. And it's all like, I'm going to do this literary crawl the first time in Fort Worth and go to all these businesses. All this is going to be a part of my book festival. See, now you got the test case going on.
Diane, calm down. Okay. Okay, Andrea. So, she's a lot. So as you can see,
She's got some good ideas.
But anyway, let's kind of reset everything. And I'm glad you joined.
Yeah, but we're going to let Andrea diagnose this situation real quick, right? She can diagnose us, right? Because we can.
Well, I think
maybe.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, we're going with our takeaways from our conversation. And if you could share, because you've been kind of listening in on the conversation as well. So what is your takeaway? So Felicia, she says her biggest takeaway is to think bigger. Thanks for sharing, Felicia. So that's her thing. So she's doing the
Are you
big
trusting,
thinking,
Felicia? You trusting your big thinking?
Yes.
Yeah.
So mindset is important. That's the big thinking right there. The big mindset.
Yep.
And she said right
Yep.
there's a column. Read that part right there.
Yep, I do see that. Do you see that? Okay, as a columnist writer, I have no problem taking the vision, putting them into words. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
Is it
good.
hard then to act on I'd be curious, like, so then do her actions always align with her vision? That would be a question, like on a daily
That's a
basis.
question, Felicia.
Yeah.
Does your action align with your vision?
Yeah. And if you said your biggest takeaway is to think bigger, I'd be curious to think bigger about what? Right?
Okay.
What part of your life or what aspect of your life or what facet of your life do you want to think bigger about? Right?
So when she says think bigger, how does that fit? I'm back to the big three that you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Does that
Yes.
think bigger, parallel with the big three? Is that a parallel going on right there?
Yeah. So I think if you, the first step is to think bigger. So like you were saying, okay, we're going to have the festival, right?
Right.
Okay. So you have this vision in your head and you started to put it into action. You've taken some action steps. Okay. But now you're going to go out to all the businesses. Right?
Right.
Okay. So like I was going out to all the businesses is a huge undertaking. So I would, if I was sitting next to you tomorrow morning, I'd say, okay, Danya, let's get specific. What are we actually doing today to align with this big idea that you have? Like, let's think about 3 things, not go to all the businesses. What businesses? How many businesses? Which businesses? Let's get strategic on it.
Yeah.
Right?
Breaking it down.
Break it down.
For my lit crawl.
For your lit crawl. Yeah, let's break it down.
Felicia responded to you, Andrea.
Okay.
She said
thinking bigger, like stepping outside of the box. Yes. So I want you to think about like So a good way to go this, Felicia, is go to future you. So that's you of March 31st, 2028. What exactly is she doing? How is she feeling? And what is she thinking about? And then go ask her what does stepping outside of the box without limits mean today? Because we always do have to bring it back to today in a sense, because that's where we're living in today.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So this is like, you got to go out to the future and then bring it back. And when you're talking about your big three, that's how we kind of can do that.
I think honestly, we are going to do a group read on this book. I think we're going to do that. And we're going to, and I may send you another link, call you back, just kind of summarize with the group. Because I really think we need to get a whole group of women in here, and we need to discuss this, because I'm really feeling that a lot of people names are coming to me, faces are coming to me that can really benefit from the big three that you're talking about with the big mindset,
Yes.
Because like you said, I mean, people sometimes don't even realize their options because they're so stuck in the grind. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Did you think about that? And just the whole, just like how you wrote down the trust. I just really think we just really need more people to really hear this and really engaged with it and act upon it. And so I think we're going to make this a group read for.
I think that's a great idea. I would really dig in this book into that middle section of the big plan. So chapter 6, 7, and 8. Chapters 6, 7, and 8 are going to dig deeper into, you said, hey, what are thinking about those big three things?
Decisions, visions, and actions.
Yep. So you've got to kind of, I call it like untangling the knots, figuring out what's getting in your way of taking these actions, figuring out what's important and urgent. Okay. Which is going to help you determine like your 3 top priorities. And then, it gets into this middle part of the book kind of gets into the weeds in a sense, but it really does help fuel your actions.
Right.
And if you want me kind of guiding you along, I'm happy to come back live here. But also that audio coach companion is kind of me talking in your ear as you're working through some of this, if you download that.
Now, I noticed because I took a stab at the book, I do want to reread it. But I noticed there was not a lot of, I think this really separates you from a lot of people. You don't dive into the limitation of finances, because a lot of people get caught up in, I'm in debt, I'm this, I'm that, financially side of it. And it seems like you miss the vision part or the ability to think big because you're so caught up in finances.
So money is a big obstacle, right? It can be a literal big obstacle, but it's also a mental big obstacle. Yeah. Right. So I can't fund this. I don't have the money to do it. My bank account right now isn't supporting that. Okay. So I always think, if I say to you, what's your most valuable resource? Okay, let's play a game. What's your most valuable resource? Time, money, or energy? What would you say?
Most valuable of those 3? Time.
Oh, time.
Okay.
It could be energy. No.
I'm going to argue. I'm going to say it's energy, and here's why.
Yeah. Okay.
You can use energy or brain power to create more money and more time for yourself. Right? You can use brain power to create more money. This is okay. You can't just sit around and hope money's going to fall out of the sky. Right? That doesn't work like that. Okay. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So if you're someone that's like, hey, my finances are getting in the way of this, then I would urge you to think bigger about how you can generate more money.
And when you said that just reminded me that we need to really protect our energy. I mean, that's
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you do. So where are you what are you putting your energy towards? Is it all
Right.
the 50 things on the to-do list? Right? Or is it the things that are going to matter most to you?
Right.
So, I would say that 75% of my clients come to me and money is a problem. They see it as a problem or an issue, or they don't even really know, they don't feel like they have a good handle on it even. Like it's kind of,
Mhm.
they just know the number at the bottom of the bank account on a daily basis, which isn't really telling us much.
Right.
Okay. So we need to use our energy to create more time and money.
I like.
And I do a lot of work with them, with my people I work with on understanding their finances, understanding cash flow, especially if you're a business owner, like cash
Mhm.
in, cash out,
Yeah.
projecting how much cash you're going to need in next month, 6 months from now, a year from now,
Mhm.
right? Because no one likes surprises,
Yeah.
but surprises are really just expected things in a sense. Like, there are going to be surprises, so you might as well plan for them. Okay.
Yeah. You got to
So,
prepare for that.
so
Mhm.
money is a huge part. And I think what's interesting is that it's something when I think about discussions I have with clients, sometimes it dominates discussions. But if I've recorded over 200 podcasts now. Okay.
Wow.
And I have a podcast called She Thinks Big, same as the book. So everybody should go subscribe to She Thinks Big, the podcast. And I
Yes, do
can,
that, please,
yeah.
everyone.
And I can like segment my episodes into topics, and there's a chunk that are about money. But
Mm,
guess what? They're the least listened to because we don't
really?
like talking about it.
We really don't. And honestly, as a business owner, sometimes you don't like dealing with it. You just want to do your
Right.
business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't
It's
want to
real.
deal with that. But
Sure. But it's a thing. It's a real thing, right? It's a real thing.
right, it's a real thing.
I got
Yeah.
a
So
message from
I'm
Amber. Amber says we need to use our brain power, energy to generate more time and money. She said, I love this. When are we doing a book read?
okay. You should
Okay,
do it.
we're going to do it. Tell her to stay tuned.
She's over Sisterhood Foundation, so we're going to try to get them
Oh,
involved.
yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah,
a great
she's
idea.
over Sisterhood Foundation in the Fort Worth area, Dallas Fort Worth area. So she's
Awesome.
excited about. I don't know if she didn't put it in. You can probably put it in the chat too, but I did read it from my phone.
Okay. Okay. Well, wonderful.
Super.
So, you know what? I could talk to you forever, Andrea.
Well, this has been fun.
I could talk to you
Can I
forever.
make one more comment, please? Please, one more, please.
And do you go by Andrea or Andrea?
Andrea, but I answer to all the things. It's all good.
I just have to. Andrea, can you take one more comment from me, please?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, I did one thing that did really stick out to me because I actually did another festival. I had just these visions of grandeur and I execute on them. Like I just did the Big Six Book Expo. And
Okay.
and I love landscapes and just landscapes. And I do everything. If you say a landscape, I try to create a literary event around it. So when I did the Big Six Book Expo, I based it off of 6 cities in North Texas. That's Plano, Frisco, Richardson, Allen, McKinney, and Garland. And
Okay.
when it was coming up to that, I was stressed. And so I'm getting ready to do this again. So I'm looking at getting controls around stuck stress and progress stress. So I am that's another thing that really stuck out for me. And if you get into stuck stress, my favorite thing that I always say, is diminishing returns. I use it in economics,
Yes.
but
Yes.
it works well here. And so I'm like, that's one of my big takeaways as I move along, like really getting control as it gets closer and being able to manage the stress so it won't end up in diminishing returns. And that was short. I did it. Short and sweet.
Okay. Okay. That stood out to you. That's good. Okay.
That's a really good concept for people to get a grasp on stuck stress versus progress stress. That's a hot topic. That's something that's really resonates in that concept of diminishing returns when you're in stuck stress. So, Danya, go listen to the podcast episode on stuck stress. You need to go listen.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Most definitely. And everyone that's tuned in, please go subscribe to She Thinks Big. I know I will. And Andrea, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you really taking time out to speak with us and share with us about your book, She Thinks Big. I'm telling you, this is just like, this is really divine for us.
Amber, can you
And
find
so-
the podcast and put it in the chat? Or
I can probably find it really quick. You want me to find it?
Yeah, I was going to have one of our listeners, if they can find it, let's drop it in there. But yeah.
Yes.
And
Well,
she-
you know what?
and she-
Here's the easiest way, because everybody listens to podcasts on different platforms, right?
Mhm.
So here's a link to all of the platforms. No matter what platform you like listening to your podcast on, you can access it from this link.
Okay.
It used to be called Time to Level Up, but now it's called
Okay.
She Thinks Big. So that's why
Okay,
that says
cool.
that. Yeah. So there's that. And then there's an episode that's specifically on stuck stress. That now see, that one gets listened to versus the money ones.
Yeah. and the money usually causes the stuck stress.
Right? Isn't that funny? So
This is
here we
great.
go. Here's an episode on stuck stress. I'll put that in there too. Oops. Now you can probably hear it. But here's the episode link to that. So coming your way. Hold on. Here we go.
Well, this has been
All right.
wonderful. I am just excited about this and just a connection that has been made. And again, Facebook, YouTube, everyone, I'm just saying the virtual world, please get this book. Definitely, if you can, go to the bookshop.com and order
Yes.
the book. We will
Get it
greatly
there.
appreciate that. And also, if you're in the DFW area, we have some books in stores. So definitely stop by the store and pick up your book. And we do, and I believe this is on Libro, the audio.
So it's in our audio bookstore too, that you
Yes.
can find on our website.
So if you, because a lot of people prefer audiobooks, go to
Yes.
Libro on our website, and you can order it from there as well. Okay, so those are 3 ways you can get the book. Again, Andrea, thank you so much, and
Thanks for having me.
You know, I'm going to tell Jan, she's just such a blessing. She really is a blessing. I love her. So I'm going to reach out to her and just thank her just for connecting us. And again, thank you. And I probably will be calling you again.
Call me. I'm happy to help.
Okay, when I get my little book club together. Okay. So,
Sure.
And shout out to the people that are, and I've seen some of the people that tune in from Omaha, Nebraska. So shout out to Omaha, Nebraska, and Kansas City, Missouri, and Denver. So shout out to those groups, different organizations that tuned in tonight. So it's
Okay.
exciting.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you, everyone. And again, as we always say, keep reading.
Keep thinking big, and keep reading.
Oh,
People can
and
reach out.
Andrea, before we go though, I just want to make sure.
Yes.
So if someone want to get in contact with you directly, they just how would they do that?
I think the easiest way is to you can go to my website, which is my name, AndreaLiebross.com, or you can find it through the book as well. And, you can always send me a message on there. I'm also on social media on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, all the things.
Okay.
So
so you should be able to find her. Okay.
you can find me in all sorts of ways. Yes.
Okay, you're a beautiful spirit, and we appreciate you so much. And you have a wonderful.
Oh, I just followed you
evening.
too.
Awesome.
Thank
Go
you.
follow. That's probably the best way. Follow me, because I do some free workshops and things like that too. So happy to have anyone who wants to
Oh, I
join.
just followed you.
Oh yes, definitely follow. Okay, thank you, my dear.
Okay.
You have a great evening.
Thanks. You
Appreciate
too. Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye-bye.